Air defense systems, artillery, multiple launch rocket systems, radars, drones, 250,000 artillery shells and tens of thousands of mortar bombs. On Ukraine's Independence Day, the Joe Biden administration announced a record $3 billion military assistance package. In addition to weapons, the package also includes training for Ukrainian military personnel, maintenance and support for new weapons.
Deliveries of this USAI package will begin in the next several months and continue over the coming years. While many of these capabilities are not intended to directly contribute to today's fight, they will form the backbone of a robust future Ukrainian force capable of defending Ukraine for years to come.
The U.S. Under-Secretary of Defense stressed that Ukraine will need Washington's help in the medium and long term. This is a clear signal to the Kremlin that the United States will support Ukraine in its confrontation to Russian aggression for as long as necessary.
The United States by this way quite clearly signals to Russia that they are ready to accept this challenge and are ready to support Ukraine, including for a long time. And if they support Ukraine for a long time in a war of exaction, then for Russia this war of exaction loses all meaning, because they will drain their resources and ultimately get nothing.
In addition, the Biden administration plans to give a separate name to its military mission to support Ukraine in the coming weeks and appoint a general to supervise it, the Wall Street Journal reports, citing officials. This means that from the category of one-time help in Ukraine, it is moving into the category of long-term support, and consequently it will receive permanently targeted funding from the US budget, and also the support of Ukraine is extremely important for Washington.
This is very bad news for Russia. If this is implemented de facto, not just de jure, the United States of America will enter the war on the side of Ukraine in a hybrid format. They like of talking part or not, but operations mean one thing, that America is actually taking part in these operations.
Of course, the mission does not imply direct US military involvement in the war unleashed by Russia in Ukraine. Assistance with weapons and training of Ukrainian servicemen will move to a qualitatively new permanent level, experts say.
The United States is helping not so much the Ukrainian state, but the very idea of the possibility of effectiveness and democracy in the face of authoritarian regime.
Western support allows Ukraine not only to deter Russian aggression, but also to form a new agenda after the victory, says Andriy Yermak, head of the Office of the President of Ukraine.
When the war ends, Ukraine will become not just the EU member state, but an axis around which a new security system in Europe will be built. We will do everything possible and impossible to ensure this. Andriy Yermak, head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, on Twitter. Ukraine came up with the United 24 initiative, which should serve as the basis for the security guarantees not only for Ukraine, but for the whole world. It should provide for a quick response to any acts of aggressions against sovereign states. It should provide for a certain algorithm of response.
Such an act of aggression, according to Article 5 of the NATO Charter, is a radiation threat. Presidents of Ukraine and the United States discussed possible consequences of the provocations of the Russian army at the occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Position of Washington is unchanged. The territory of the power plant should not be in the combat zone.
The position of the United States of America and the G7 is decisive. They have already issued a statement that Russia bears full responsibility for the state of affairs at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. They demanded to remove the troops from there, thereby eliminating this bluff that Russia was trying to deploy around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
The United States is systematically continuing its sanctions pressure on Russia. Over the past 6 months, the country has halved imports of wood, metals and rubber from Russia, and also introduced a number of personal restrictions against Putin's inner circle, which could be much more painful for him than a reduction in trade turnover, experts say. Reported by Serhiy Kulyas, Olena Mikhailovska, UATV News.